You're listening to Late Night Talks with Pastor Chris Alston.
As always, it's not what you call me, it's not what they call me, but it's simply who I answer to. Greetings and salutations. My name is Pastor Chris Alston. I pray that everybody's having a beautiful and blessed evening. And welcome to Late Night Talks with Pastor Chris Alston. Check this out. I know things might look a little strange right now on the screen. You might be wondering what's going on, but tonight we are stepping into the big arena, as I like to say. We're stepping into the big stage, the big pulpit, with a great brother, a storyteller who doesn't pull any punches. Amen. I stay connected and subscribed to this man on most of his social media platforms. A creator who has mastered all the arts, in my opinion, of the deep dive. He is a sharp-witted activist and archivist of our times. He has an unfiltered voice for the community. And when we're talking about the community, y'all know what I'm talking about. And a visionary who knows how to build up, hold up a mirror to the culture as a whole. He doesn't just give you content, but he gives you a unique but truthful and honest perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, put some respect on the craft and the name. Director, creator, all around great guy of another satisfying racial moment. Please welcome the man himself, Big Cam Smith. My brother, how are you doing this evening?
Man, I'm good, man. I appreciate that intro, man. I'm gonna have to clip that, man. I'm gonna need that somewhere, man. That's fire.
Absolutely. Hey, I tell everybody when they come on, the people that I interview, it does not matter where you are in life, it should always feel iconic, because not everybody knows what it takes to get to where we are in life, and everybody has a story, because, especially when you're dealing in the arts and the creative space, or even in ministry, everyone has a story, and we're storytellers, in my personal opinion, and I believe you're one of those.
Absolutely, man. That means everything, brother. And definitely from a ministry perspective, a community perspective, man, it means everything to know that I found my people that understand the why of what I'm doing, man. So it means everything, brother. I appreciate that.
No, absolutely. So I like to always start from the beginning. Your foundation. You coming from the church and Kansas City, and your mother, Miss Hattie Smith. I hope I said that correctly.
You did.
All right.
A great one.
Yeah, there you go. Now it's famous for saying, if better is possible, then good is simply not good enough. So, my brother, as a creator who now reaches millions with an M, how often does that voice in your head make you re-edit a video for the 5th time?
Every single day, man. Every single day. Every now and again, something will slip past me. And when I tell you, it will eat away at me. If I can catch it before it starts getting seen, then I will take it down and put it back up with that small detail, with that small edit. But once it starts getting the looks, it's like, it's already out there. It's in the algorithm. It kind of eats away at me, man. Definitely, moms raised us with a perspective to always try to strive for the best. And absolutely, man. That better possible, good is simply not enough, man. Academically, it helped me in school. It made me dream big as a kid, and even now to this day. Losing her a year and a half ago, it's still literally every time I wake up, it rains in my head.
Yeah, our mothers, our parents, when we come from, a good cloth, that's the foundation of everything. So, with that strong mantra, I want to, try to go back to the beginning even more. You have a church background, ministry. Let's start from the beginning. So, before another satisfying racial moment, and as some people will say, the internet fame or whatever you want to call it, because I want to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, just in talking to this brother, when you reach out to certain people, you don't know who you're gonna get. But in talking with this man behind the scenes, and having conversations, he is the real deal. He is not one of those uh, dare I say, fake people, as some would say. No, he is very genuine, uh, good guy, good character. So before you got into the content and the comedy, what were you doing before then?
Yeah, man. So I grew up in church, Church of God in Christ, Faith Deliverance Family Worship Center.
Right.
My grandpa actually started the church, and passed it on to his son, who his son now, the son of the grandfather, the son of the grandson, now is the pastor of the church. So I grew up there. Obviously did church plays, did all the stuff, the Easter speeches. I was a super shy kid, man. I was so shy. I remember one of my Easter speeches was Jesus wept, and my mom was standing there with me. And I remember I looked at her, and she looked at me, and I looked at the
Right.
audience, and she said, "Say it," and I said, "You say it." And so instead of just saying Jesus wept in the mic, I said, "You say it." That's how shy I was, man. Just a super shy kid. But I got in some plays and got to start, messing with the fine arts. I was a musician, played for a church for 15 years on the keys, played the drums, played the saxophone. Um, my biggest dream was I wanted to play football, and I spent a lot of time on that dream, on that journey. Ended up going D1, going to the University of Minnesota.
Okay.
But due to losing my uncle who took over the church from my grandfather suddenly, he was actually preaching. That really affected me deeply my freshman year. My grandfather also, my dad's side, lost the battle of cancer that year. And so I felt like I was too far away, came home, and pretty much ruined my football career, went into a deep, dark depression that nobody around here seems to remember.
Hmm.
Everybody thinks life always been perfect for Cam, and he always got what he wanted, and always been successful. But nobody remembers this 4 years of darkness from the age of about 19 to about the age of really about the age of 18 to about 22.
Mhm.
Was super angry, super hurt. Would wake up every day, look myself in the mirror, actually audibly open my mouth after brushing my teeth and tell myself I was a bum, that I had ruined my
Wow.
life, that I was never going to be nothing. I was never going to touch the world. I don't know why as a kid, I used to
Mhm.
always say, one day I'm going to touch the world. I don't know why I said that. Internet wasn't even hitting like, we still had them joints. You had to have a little card you put in and it make all the noise
Oh
for you to
man.
get on the internet. Can't
Right.
talk on the phone and be on the internet at the same time.
Right.
You got to make
Yeah.
a choice.
Right.
And
I
so,
remember.
but for some reason, man, I thought as a kid, I was going to touch the world. But in that time period after football, I was telling myself that I ruined my life. I would never touch the world. I was a bum. And I was working at Radio Shack, where I always say, Radio Shack is where I became a man, and spent some time there. And I hated that job at a certain point. My mom told me, she said, you need to stop talking about how much you hate your job and start thanking God for the job that you have, and understand that there's people that wish they had that job. And so from that day forward, I changed the way I talk. And every single time I would think, man, I hate this job, I would open my mouth and I would say, Lord, I thank you for this job, and I thank you for the one that I'm going to get that's going to pay me double, if not triple, what I'm getting paid now. Within 3 weeks, I had a new job as a car salesman.
Hmm.
Did enjoy that job for about 6 months. At a certain point in time, I started hating that job. So what did I do? Lord, I thank you for this job. And I did get paid triple what I was getting paid at Radio Shack. But when I got done with that, I said, Lord, I thank you for this job. But I also thank you for the job that's coming. It's gonna pay me double, if not triple. Within a month of that, I became a substitute teacher. And I got a long-term position, and I found out that I had a gift to teach. I was always a a high standing academic student. And that's where I really found myself. I got a long-term position at a middle school. I started coaching there. I started to heal my heart that was still broken from losing football through, helping these other young men and young ladies in the sport. And it changed my life. I became an educator, went back to school, got my degree. And I was good with that, man. I was teaching, I was coaching. And literally I was like, I could do this for the rest of my life, And then one day I just woke up and it was like, you need to tell these jokes, you need to tell these stories, you need to express this creativity. And that was the beginning of the social media career. So that's in a nutshell. I was also a youth leader in that time. I became a minister in that time in my 20s. Yeah, man, it was a different moment in time for me, conquering that depression. But it also showed me the power of our words. And that I would use my tongue. Like to this day, if I catch the sniffles, I won't say, "Oh man, I think I got a cold." I won't say it. You know what I'm saying? I'll do what I need to do to beat it, but I ain't gonna speak it. So
Right. Wow.
yeah.
And the power of words and the mantra that your mom instilled in you. Hey, that's amazing. And you touched on you being a youth pastor in the Kojic Church. Very familiar. Very big deal, especially in our community. Kojic Church is a very big deal. How did the pulpit to pew connection, that call and response, prepare you for the screen to scroll connection that you have with your audience now? Because I've been following you, so I kind of know when it really took off. But could you speak to that?
So it's funny, man. Growing up, I really feel like growing up in the church prepares you for freaking business, for fine arts, for like it's just so much you have to have respect for people. You have to learn how to, treat one another. You have to learn how to present before people. You have to learn how to serve people. You know what I'm saying? So it's just so much that comes with, being in the sunshine band, being in the usher board, being in the youth department, being in the choir, it's just so much that it comes with. And so obviously growing up in church, you had to do Easter speeches. At a certain point, it goes from an Easter speech to, hey, we having a youth service. We want you to bring a little 5-minute message. Now, I'll never forget, my brother was going through something at the time. I'm the youngest of 4. He had fainted or something. So we all pulled up at the house. They working on him. And I'm over in the corner and I said, Lord, if you bring my brother back, I'll preach your word. And of course, he brought him back. And
of course.
And so he brought him back. And within the next week, my mom was over the New Year's Eve service. And so she was like, well, I got a slot for you. And I was like, oh, I can't say no. I just told God that I'd do it. And so I think I was 14 years old when I spoke like my first sermonette. What scripture was it? Man, I can't call it off the top of my head, but that was the beginning. And so growing up in church, you learn how to present things, which when I say it helps with business, well, when you get into business and you got ideas that you want to, put before a group of people, you have to be able to present it. You have to make a presentation and you got to build your presentation or your speech or your message. And so all of that really prepared me. Again, my mom was heavy on my academics, so I was just always working on, some people catch the words, you know what I'm saying? I'm from the community, you know what I'm saying? I'm an inner city guy, but I can't help that every now and again, I drop some soliloquies and, I really get down off in that vocab bag. And I love when I see somebody the other day was like, the vocab flex. I was like, you got me. Thank you. Appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Because I definitely care. I've had some content birthed when I first kind of took off. Some other people were saying how ignorant I was and how uneducated I was. You know, they looked at the complexion and the stylistic tone and assumed the thing. I said, hold on, let me show you these 3 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
real fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're gonna get back to regularly scheduled programming. So yeah, definitely the growing up in church, becoming a minister, learning how to develop that delivery. I think it helps in just so many realms. Even as a musician, I rapped a little bit growing up. Being able to write
Hold on, so
hooks.
that means you got to give me 16 bars after this thing.
Oh yeah, I got you, man. I stay ready. You ain't got to get ready, you know. But yeah,
Right.
but you know, absolutely, man. It definitely had a huge impact on my delivery and my cadence of how I present on social media.
I mean, from one educated person to another, like, and then as a black person, as a black man in America, you often got to speak so many different languages. So,
Yeah.
you know, those who know, you know, I can pick up on that. You know, like even though you might hear someone speak a certain way, it's certain things that give it away. Like, oh, this person is educated. There's more to this person than just that. And so, with the content creation and even your approach to comedy within your content creation, could you say that in ministry that prepared you, or you know, to where you are now, and finding that tone?
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly, I feel like both worlds have made my delivery stronger.
Right.
I remember one time, one of my cousins, he asked me, he was like, Cam, he's like, why don't you ever connect your coaching and your comedy? And I was like, it's just 2 separate worlds, man. I kind of like to keep it that way. But once I decided, you know what, I'm gonna allow that comedic side to start to infiltrate my ministry delivery. Man, like when I tell you the response and the processing, like nobody want to sit there for 45 minutes with just boom, 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 boom. Like you can, like, if God is love, and this is the thing, like people gotta understand. Yes, Jesus, he had a message. He had proof. He had miracles. He had delivery. You can't tell me Jesus wasn't funny. You can't tell me Jesus wasn't cool.
Right.
He walked up on a boat. Let's say, hey man, put that down. Put that net down. Come rock with me. And the dude just was like, man, I got to get this done. No fish, no fish. Boom. Hey, pull it up now. Bunch of fish. That's hilarious.
It
now
really
come
is.
on. I said, come on and rock with me. All right, bro, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't tell me that he didn't have some type of charisma about himself that made men. And you know, to lead men,
right?
For a man to lead men, there's so much respect that you have to provide. There's so much experience you got to provide. You got to really bring something to a table to be able to tell a bunch of men, hey, drop what you're doing and come jump on what I believe is the biggest thing in the world. And for them to do that, man, like I know he had that charisma. So I definitely added that to my repertoire in speaking. And I really think both, just as a coach, as a public speaker, as a minister, as a comedian, it's just so much that you know, as a creator, it's so much that, you know, God has poured into me that I'm able to just combine all of those things and have a voice that, you know, has a very powerful resonance. So
yeah, I totally agree. You know, piggyback, you know, I would say, I'm not saying it's the same, but you'll understand what I'm kind of saying. Like, there is some similarities in delivering a sermon and getting up on the stage and delivering a set.
Absolutely.
Because you got to have the right timing, and you can't be so serious in your messaging. You have to know when to kind of insert something funny in.
Yeah.
And sometimes it might land and sometimes it don't.
Yeah.
But you got to find a way how to dig yourself out of those different, you know, those different things when things ain't landed the way you want. So, man, my hat goes off to you for speaking multiple languages the way that you do.
It's
So
funny if I could jump in right
go
there
ahead. Yes, sir.
before you go too far from it. The
Mhm.
other day we had an event for football, or not just for football, but for sports at my school, welcoming people in. And so we was hitting them with so many facts and so much passion and so much, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It was just so much. And they're sitting in the auditorium. And in this moment, I was like, man, I got to lighten it. And I'm in the middle of an impassioned speech. And I was like, I graduated from this school, and I got 3 degrees. I was like, I got a master's in the science of education, but for some reason, I can't get nobody to call me Master Smith. And then I just kept.
That's pretty good. That's a good one. That's pretty good. Yeah.
I just kept going, and people just fell out. But from right in that moment, it was like, okay, cool. We had a break. Now we back into the information.
Right.
Now in a comedy club, I'm gonna tell that same joke, but instead of saying master, I'm gonna go ahead and say master. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take that T up out of there and really get the rest of that joke up
Right.
in there. But because some people ain't gonna get so you gotta
Right.
really you gotta put it on the plate. You gotta
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, man. So I definitely see the impact of putting it together.
Man. So, more and kind of moving along. So do people do the guys on the field or at your school, do they know what you do outside of this, and do they understand how big you are in the space? No, I know you're humble, but I'm gonna say it for you. Do they understand what it is you do and how big you are outside of education and coaching?
Man, they would never acknowledge anything to make anybody feel positive about themselves. Definitely a bunch of haters. No,
Yeah.
you know what I do.
Right.
They show love in the way that they show love. They the new generation. So it's always funny kind of joking with them about that. Funny thing is, I got the job as the head coach right the year that I got the job. I went viral for the first time. It wasn't my content though. It was a guy named Gerald Hudson, who he does these pranks where he walks up to people and acts like they're somebody else.
Yeah.
And so he walked up to me in Walmart and he was like, "Hey, yo, Sharif O'Neal." And I was like, "Man, ain't nobody know." We had this whole big back and forth, and it got over 50 million views. And so literally the first thing when I walked into school, that first day of school, oh shoot, Sharif O'Neal. So I went like a whole year being called Sharif O'Neal. And it wasn't until 3 years later where my content took off.
Mm-hmm.
So I was basically Sharif O'Neal for 3 years until I became Big Cam I Am. Until they finally put some respect on my name.
Right.
I finally became Big Cam I Am. But now, they definitely acknowledge and show love where they can. But yeah, man, they some haters, man. It's funny. It's funny
like,
going back and forth with them.
People keep you humble. It don't matter how far you go in life. When you home, people gonna remind you, "Oh, you just regular around here."
Exactly. So
But that's a good thing for your ego too, though.
Absolutely.
It's
Definitely. That's one of the things I love about being in my community. People see, I'm the same dude from childhood, being consistent, always been in the community, played, sports in my community, coached in my community, taught in my community, went to church in my community. So, everything I do, try to spend all my money in my community. Everything I do is in the town, and that's what it is. So
that's awesome right there. So when we're gonna go ahead and get into it for real, when you out there dealing with Karens, you out here dealing with Kens, and you got these racial microaggressions in your videos.
Yeah.
Are you basically still coaching the public on how to be better people at that point?
That's all I'm trying to do, man. It's an educational series where I'm trying to help people understand first how to deal with these situations. And at the same time, I'm trying to educate the, other side of what is unacceptable. It's so funny to me that sometimes people will consider what I'm doing as racist. Like there's never a time where I'm uttering any kind of racist banter, where I'm calling people out of their names, where I'm disrespecting people in any kind of way. I'm simply pointing out microaggressions, disrespect, and saying, hey, this is not okay. Don't do this, And then there's even times where we see the combination of love and not trying to take, but trying to impact in a positive way. I even highlight that at times, and sometimes what I see in my community, when I say my community, I'm talking more like my base of supporters. Some portion of them don't like when I try to show some of the peaceful side, and some of the side that we really would love to get to. I know there's a few different ways to looking at this thing. There's a piece that where we should all be separate and just have our own, and then there's a piece that there's kind of the understanding of the Malcolm X versus the Martin Luther King, the Dr. Martin Luther King, and I feel like I'm somewhere definitely in the middle. I remember when Malcolm X came back from Mecca, his mind was different because he saw that there was more than just this separation, but there was a way that we could all at one point respect each other, love one another,
Absolutely.
And treat each other better. I'm from a community in Kansas City that's an absolute melting pot. There's people from all over the world, Black, white, Asian, Hispanic. There's a strong community of Middle Eastern. There's just so many different people that we grow up around. So we kind of grow up understanding how to respect each other's culture, But then when I went off to college and I'm in Minnesota, at a school with 56,000 people, and only maybe, 4,000 of them are Black at the time, that was a completely different world. And that was a world where I did experience several microaggressions. There was several conversations I had to have and let people know, like, yo, that ain't cool. Like, that's not how this works. It might be how it worked in Minnetonka or in South Dakota or, somewhere over there. But you get down into the heart of this country, nobody's going to really rock with that. And so that's all I'm really trying to do, man, is educate people on what's okay, what's acceptable, and what's not.
No, you do an awesome and smart, comedic way of pointing out what you're trying to say. And I know sometimes it's hard for people to see themselves in the mirror, and sometimes it's like hit dogs will holler. I ain't even talking to you, but if you're so offended, it's almost like when you're preaching a sermon and you step on somebody's toes, and somebody might, it's happened to me before, come at you after church, like, why you have to say all that? I'm like, hey, I don't know.
It would be weird. It would be weird if somebody was going in on skinny people, and I was offended.
Right?
With all this extra baggage I got, if somebody going in on skinny people, why would I be offended? You know what I'm saying? Now, if you're on Big Brother's head, now I got something to say. So it's weird to me that people get offended about me pointing out the worst.
There you go.
People showing the worst of themselves. Why would you be offended if that doesn't apply to you? You know what I'm saying? And so I definitely feel like we've taught a lot of people over the last 4 years. Another Satisfying Racial Moment started in 2022. And I've had so many deep conversations in the comments, even in the inbox. I had a long, I'm talking, dude was dropping 3 and 5 paragraphs on me in the inbox, and we was going back and forth, and I was just unpacking stuff, and we left that conversation on a level of understanding. And that's my thing. I don't want to be right. I don't care to be right. I just want to be understood. As long as you can understand what I'm saying, that's fine. You don't have to leave thinking the exact same thing as me, but can you understand what I'm saying? Can you go back and say, well, basically what Cam is saying is this. And if you can, I'm cool with it.
Right. No, I totally get that, and that's a good outlook to have as you approach the way you do content. Hey, it's a blessing to me. I'm a fan, so I ain't got no arguments. Just don't start attacking bald head folk.
Oh man. Oh no.
That's easy, buddy.
I got a song that I've been sitting on, man.
Go ahead and do it. I'm waiting on it. But man, I ain't gonna hold you, but I got just a few more questions. Is that all right with you?
Yes, sir.
All right, yeah. So you once you did a stand-up set, and I found out you got paid basically a gift card and some peppermints.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So looking back from where you are now, getting paid a gift card and some peppermints,
yeah.
What was the most important lesson you learned in those empty rooms, quote unquote, in those formative years?
Knowing your worth. Getting paid a quick trip gift card, some peppermints, and it was a couple pens in there too. Yeah. So I have a different take on comedy. Okay. That some people in my town might not understand. So as a comedian, right. I'm not on stage every weekend. I'm not hitting all of the open mics. Not because I'm bigger than that or anything, but because I like to challenge myself with like different opportunities and push myself in different arenas. Like since the peppermint and gas card, I have done arenas. I've done, big, huge events with, thousands of people. And so I try to just keep pressing forward. I'm not a big fan of doing birthday parties because
okay.
As a comedian, one of my first comedic sets was one of my best friend's birthdays. And he hired a comedian, and the comedian killed, but the comedian didn't know him personally. So I got up there and told all of these personal jokes and had everybody rolling. And so people to this day, man, you was better than the comedian. It's like, it's not so much I was better than comedian. Right. I just knew, bro. And right. Everybody that was there personally connected with my jokes, whereas he was telling actual, he did more of a comedic stand-up routine. And so, for that reason, I'm not a big fan of like doing birthdays or doing, family reunions. Uncle Chris can come up and tell his story, and right. Everybody remember when Grandpa Lucas was. I'm like, oh my God, now I got to work to compete with the emotions right. of that story, and so I just try to continue to press myself into challenging spots to grow myself as a comedian. So yeah, I got kind of a different outlook on it, but I've had some amazing opportunities since the peppermints and gas card, and they continue to grow to this day.
Man, that's really, really cool. You said I've never, and I'm not a comedian, so I wouldn't know. So I had never heard or thought about having a comedian for a birthday party.
Yeah.
That is very interesting. That is very, very interesting. We the closest thing to that, I guess it kind of makes sense though. My sister and I, we did an anniversary party for my mom and dad when they celebrated their 40th anniversary, and we got I'm sure you may or may not be familiar with the gospel comedian Small Fry.
Yeah, I've heard the name. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, we got her to come, and like it might have been, I'm gonna say somewhere around 500 people there in that fellowship hall, and so that was pretty good. But I never would have thought about it for a birthday. Okay, never thought about that. Okay, so now you done gave me an idea.
Yeah, just don't book me. But yeah, definitely.
You already said it now, so I can't even. I can't book you. So there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Cam Smith, you cannot book him for birthday parties.
I don't like doing birthday parties. And it's tough because people call me for them. I'm like, I'm like, and I have to tell them. And I don't really tell them I don't like doing birthday parties. I just kind of man, you get me to give the good. I kind of set the price high. And then if they say it, if they be like, all right, cool, I'm like, dang, all right, I'm gonna get this set ready. You know what I'm saying? But if they don't, then it's like, oh, it's cool. I got some people I can recommend you.
Right.
You know, so
Nah,
I
that's
got
cool.
quirks,
So
man. I'm not perfect, man. Some people, sometimes in my comments, I'll be like, man, like I think these folks think I'm the perfect black man. Like I ain't got some little weird quirks about myself. Like I got different personality traits, man. Like we're not a monolith. You know what I'm
no, we're
saying?
not.
So you know, and people, I'm unfollowing you because you like a pork chop every now and again, brother.
Crazy.
Holla at you. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sorry, I'm not perfect. So yeah,
Man,
I don't like doing birthdays.
I totally get that. I totally get that. So I want to move on to where I first reached out, not to get too deep, but churchify
Church
the world. So before another satisfying racial moment went global, you had the churchify the world movement.
Yeah.
How did that transition from specific church humor to broader social commentary happen? And was there a specific aha moment when it all clicked?
It's so funny because I get so many requests to do interviews, and so many of them be like, creator, we've seen your content. You sound hilarious. We would love to. Or, hey, Big Cam, I watched your last video, and then no proof of. But when I read yours and you said churchify the world, I said,
Right.
oh, hold on. This is not a bot. This is not AI. This is real.
Right.
Man, churchify the world was my first iteration of social media comedy. Basically, what I was trying to do through that was show the world how funny the church was and show the church how funny the world was and create a meeting point. So if you look at another satisfying racial moment, it's kind of the same formula of taking one world and another world, bringing them together and showing them a meeting point. And so I did like comedic videos. I remember I had Designer performing at the BET Awards, but I had put a praise on it playing, and I had synced it up to where it really looked like he was performing the song. And so I had several videos like that. I remember the biggest video was when Tony Romo suffered, at the time, we didn't know, a career-ending injury. And I just put a montage together for Dallas Cowboys fans with Take Me to the King. And just showing different, visions of people crying and stuff. And so that was my first video that got like 35 to 40,000 views with Churchify the World. And so, yeah, man, that was my initial kind of heart song. And what happened was after the Tony Romo video, the next video got like 15 views. So I went from 35,000, 40,000 views to 15. And I was like, oh, man, I ain't playing this game. And I literally stopped doing content for a year. And so a year later, by that time, around that same time I was doing it was a faceless channel. Nobody really saw me or knew who I was. I had started doing stand-up comedy at that same time. And so for that year, I was doing stand-up comedy. I met some comedians. And I was like, man, let's start doing skits. And so we started doing skits. That birthed us actually doing our own comedy shows. I produced my own comedy show for like a year, but we did 7 total shows once a month. It was supposed to be once a month, but we did 7 shows. Churchify the World. We had a lot of great comedians, a lot of just amazing moments. I actually just was going through my phone, downloading those Churchify the World pictures because I was going to do a post about that. But yeah, man, like it was a great moment in time. And the only thing that messed it up, it was really starting to groundswell. There was a comedy club that wanted us to come in every Sunday, and they wanted us to be their Sunday show, Sunday night show. And they were going to pay all of the comedians in the group. We had about a 6-person group. They was gonna break everybody off a little something. And then I had my biggest performance at a church. It's like a mega church in Kansas City, and COVID shuts the world down. I'm talking about it's Saturday night, and on Sunday morning, I'm about to go have my biggest performance in front of the most people I ever performed in front of, and the world shuts down Sunday morning. And obviously, because COVID happened, we can't get together, do our shows. We can't get together, do our skits. And at the time, everybody else they had their own social media. All I had was Church by the World on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. And so when we were shut out, I mean, I just kind of made the decision like, okay, it's time for me to really push my brand. And so I came out as Big Cam I Am in that time. And I was still doing majority churchy comedic skits and, parenthood skits and different stuff like that. And there was a couple times where I did a video about kind of like culture and race. Man, bro, one of my favorite things I ever did, one of the early things I did was a skit. When a Racist Meets Jesus. I don't talk about it much because I have certain plans for it, but I did that. That was my first thing that went like kind of viral on TikTok. And man, like it was like a 7-part series. I really was into character acting, writing, did some amazing stuff with that. And then this bigger creator stole it and did an 18-part series and got millions of views, blew up and everything. And it really sucked to watch my work get taken like that. And so I kind of put that in a bubble, but that was kind of the precursor to another satisfying racial moment. And another satisfying racial moment actually wasn't just created in 2022. It was created when I was a teenager.
Okay.
We were, I was at a gas station and I had a moment that happened. And literally for the first time, I'm not going to share that moment because it's a part of my comedy special. But I will tell you, like, I stepped out in front of that store, and in that moment in time, for the first time, I literally heard in my head, another satisfying racial moment.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa. And I went home, told my family the story. And for years in my family, anytime somebody would be like, dun, 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 everybody would be like, another. And we were singing in complete harmony. And so,
wow.
Yeah, man, like this straight up manna, just in that moment. I had never heard that in my life. It popped in my head. And years later, it was what pushed me out to the world to help me churchify the world. So
Right. I mean, that's dope. And I don't think people realize how often, especially when you're locked in and have a solid relationship with God, how things happen in that manified way, as you just said, or it just drops in and you're like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't think of this. Like, man, that is awesome. That's great. And so just transitioning and staying on topic though, but like because of that, you've always considered yourself a serial optimist. Other people might see it as unrealistic, but in the early days when the views, and you spoke to it a little earlier about how things would be up and then you'd be down. How did your faith in God specifically fuel that optimism that you have?
Man, it's so weird because I lose relationships because of the optimism. Because our brains are wired to be, for some reason, 3 times more negative than positive. So you can be negative without even trying, but you actually have to put in effort to be positive. And I've put so much effort in over the years that it's become a major part of my personality. So I remember when I think I was 16 years old, there was this preacher that came to our church on a revival. And he preached about zero unbelief. And I applied the principle of zero unbelief to my life. And when I say I applied it, it just became who I was. I would always just speak that things were going to happen, the way that I sought for them to happen, because I believe that God blesses godly wants. You know, if you just want to be rich because you just want a bunch of money, you want a big old house, you want a bunch of cars, and you just want to not have to worry about nothing, that's not necessarily a godly want, because he promised that if you seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, all the things that you need will be added unto you. And so you won't have any needs that you got to worry about. So it's not necessarily a godly want to want to be rich. But if you want to be in position to help others, to love on others, to build systems and programs to make sure that the fatherless are taken care of, and the widows are taken care of, and those people that are in need, that are hurting, that's a different type of want. And I believe that's a godly want. So I put a lot of my principles, I challenge myself to make sure that the things that I want to come to pass are for the right reasons. And when I know that they're of the right reasons, then I have no reason to think that there's a possibility of failure. And so my glass is always half full. I can't ever see things in a negative light. That's just the way that I am. I understand, but then at the same time, I understand that things can go wrong. A lot of times people like to play the devil's advocate. And I'm like, why are you playing devil's advocate? You got friends? Are you in cahoots with them? Like, don't ever think that a person that sees things from a positive mindset doesn't understand that there's pitfalls that can come along the way when you're trying to be successful. I absolutely keep my head on a swivel, but I look for solutions instead of looking for problems. So once we bump into a problem, okay, boom, what's the solution to that problem? Rather than dwelling in I hate to have like pointless conversations. Like if we done already talked about something, unless you got some new information for the conversation, why are we discussing it again? Like I hate having pointless, trivial conversations where we're repeating, where I'm being told a story again. Like that gets under my skin. Like I'm about moving forward, not staying in a certain state. And so, consequently, like I said, I do lose relationships because people get tired of hearing that positive stuff. They want to sulk. They want to, be down and, complain. I'm not that guy. Like there's a way for us to win. I promise you. I was telling my wife the other day, I was like, in a world where obviously we're owed reparations and it seems like we never will get them, I've created my own. I got 3 degrees. I'm a homeowner. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm an educator. I'm a coach. And I have an audience that spans millions. I have created my own reparations. You know what I'm saying? I still want them other ones, though. I still want them other ones. But I have created my own, and I just want us to all be of that mindset to go forward. Yeah, let's acknowledge whatever the issue is and let's move forward. Let's find a solution. So,
and like what you just said is a lot of the stuff I've been saying a long time, and a lot of people have told me, like, you just be so positive and optimistic. I get it, because I just don't have time. Like, it's easy to doom and gloom.
Yeah.
It's so easy to doom and gloom. I just say I don't have that type of time, like, because I know what time it is. You could either sit here or stand here and just, complain about what you don't have, or like you said, finding a solution to get whatever it is that God has for you and ordained. Put yourself in position to receive. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
no, I totally get it, man. That's a good word. You was preaching. You was stepping on my toes. You was preaching, man.
I was locked in for a minute. What Andy Mineo say? He said, "Some say I'm cocky. I just know that God got me, and I can't lose with the stuff I use." So
that's right. Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. All right, just a couple more questions, and we're almost at the wrap up phase, man. This has been a great conversation, my guy. I really appreciate it. So you're all about healing, the world through humor and your serial optimism. You've collaborated with giants, in my opinion, like Kev on Stage and King Batshit, but you stay still rooted to your community in Kansas City. You touched on it, but could you stress that again? Why is it important for you to your brand to remain a Kansas City product rather than moving to a LA or Atlanta? Nothing wrong with those places. Nothing wrong with those places. Let me say that, because I'm the same way. I'm a North Carolina. I'm a North Carolina guy through and through.
Yeah,
that's just me.
Yeah.
I'll visit these places and travel these places, but that's just me. There's nothing wrong with those places. But
Yeah.
if you can speak to that.
It's funny because there was a moment
Okay.
in the last few years where I almost made that decision to get out of the town. Not necessarily a permanent, but
Right.
the wifey even cleared me like, yo, you can take, a month to 3 and go out there and see if you can go make it shake. And
Mm-hmm.
I was, man, at one point in time, and when you talk about we got to be real. When you talk about the keeping you humble, there was a moment where I was getting 100 million views a month.
Wow.
100 million. I was looking at my numbers and comparing them to like different networks, like television.
Wow.
And I ain't gonna lie, there was a moment. I'm not perfect. I was drinking the Kool-Aid by the gallon. And I'm talking about, bro, you know how the pineapples got everybody in the chokehold right now, everybody with the Kool-Aid pineapple? Boy, I was guzzling the Kool-Aid. And I was like, man, like, honestly, I'm doing well. Like, I need to quit my job and just go get on the circuit. And there was several other people in entertainment that told me, like, Cam, it's time. It's this is the moment. And all in all, I can say that I believe I made the right decision not going when I went because of the things that occurred after that moment. There was a moment I lost my monetization, and I had to regain it. That was a 3-month time phrase. Obviously, in the last few years, I lost my mother. When I lost my mother, I went on about a 6-month break from social media. Even leading up to losing her, I wasn't really making content for real because we were giving her 24-hour care. And so all of that would have absolutely put me and my family in a dire strait. And so ultimately, I'm really committed to showing that, you can build from anywhere. In this new world that we're in, you can build from anywhere. There's so much talent in Kansas City. And I actually have some stuff in play right now where we're building our own media outlets and putting ourselves in position to be the next Atlanta, to be the next LA, the next New York, the next, Motown. And so there's several creative giants here. And people don't necessarily connect us because they see us over here, they see us over there. But behind closed doors, we're working on some powerful stuff, man. And so definitely want to be that beacon of light to my community, to my city, and people from other cities that aren't known as, LA, Atlanta, that you can build from anywhere. We've seen so many of the greats do that. And not demonizing those that do move to the big city to get it done. However you gotta accomplish your dream and provide for your family, respect to you and yours. This is just the journey he got me on, So that's where we at with it.
No, I can respect it. It's just something about, for me, and I can tell there's something to you. Wanting to see where you come from, not just yourself succeed, but the people around you, and to create that hub, that can bring. I mean, I get it. You cannot take everybody with you, and that's also true. But still, those people who are serious about, going to another level in their life, you wanted to, pull them up and create that hub, because it's easy to. I always say, anytime you leave from where you're at, that's a job, that's an industry, and you're going to make it somewhere else. So I appreciate what you're saying. So here we are doing this interview through a screen, nonetheless remotely, but you mastered making people feel like they're in the room with you. What's your secret for maintaining that high energy when you're just talking through a lens? How do you do that?
Man, honestly, it's a gift. It's sometimes it's kind of funny to me, because growing up being super shy, and then also being someone who, a lot of times had a outlook that was so different than the people around me. I had to learn how to convey my point in a bite-sized way. And so that's one of the reasons why I do kind of hang my hat on the shorts, is because this information I got, I don't want to run on so much. If I can say this, it's kind of funny to me sometimes, like when I be bringing stuff out, and then people be in the comments like, man, nah, you got to go a little deep. You got to go. Like, how deep do we got to go? How much deeper do we got to go? Like, you got to learn how to give people just a little bit of bite size so they can do the rest of the research on their own. What he said on Reading Rainbow, don't take my word for it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to give you the introductory course. I'm going to give you the appetizer, and you can go get the meat and potatoes on your own. But at the end of the day, I learned, because my whole life was going super deep and going on long tangents and going on, and just people around me not really understanding and hearing what I had to say. I've learned to give, a little bit of comedy, a little bit of fact, a little bit of history, and then something that can bring it all together in the end is the way that I deliver. And so, yeah, man, I really think it's a gifting of the life that I live, the talents that were provided to me, the opportunities and the rooms that I've been placed in that have allowed me to create that commonality, that we feel like we're in the same room. And, a lot of people have said that in the comments, like, man, I just feel like when I'm watching Cam, I feel like we just talking. We just in the room talking. And that definitely warms my heart to know that the message is coming across.
No, absolutely, man. You have a relatable way you do content. Then you have a relatable personality, because that's what people want. They want to feel like, that you're touchable in the right way. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And that they can have just a conversation with you. And I can say, ladies and gentlemen, just behind the scenes and dealing with Big Cam here, he is a very relatable. What you see on the screen is what you see in real life. Super solid guy. You're an actor, a writer, producer, and you're a coach.
Yes, sir.
So here's what I want to do, because we're about to give the final word here. This is the final word here. We're closing. You're all those things. Minister, we still keeping that. The ministers that you minister God's word in your own way. So to the kids sitting in a church pew or on a football field, or up and coming content creator in your area in Kansas City right now with a big dream, or anywhere, what is the one piece of advice you'd give them that isn't in a textbook?
Hey, keep going. Keep going. Don't look at the views. Understand that every single person that's creating content, whether they got 40,000 followers or 40 million followers, at some point they had zero. One of the, it wasn't that long ago. It literally 2 years ago, I had 300 subscribers on YouTube. I got 560,000 now. From 4 years ago, I had 40,000 followers on TikTok. I got 897,000 now. A couple years ago, I only had 800 on Instagram. I got 164,000 now. And just a few months ago, I was stuck at 40K on Facebook, and I got 142,000 now. It's just about the grind. It's about the work. I dropped a video every single day for a year and a half, without fail. And there was even days where I dropped 2 or 3 videos. How bad do you want it? Because every single thing that you want to do in this world, you're going to have to put in an amazing amount of work. Whether you want to play football, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be an actor, you want to be a firefighter, a police officer. Whatever you do, you're going to have to put in an amazing amount of work. And social media content creation is one of those things as well, that you have to put in an amazing amount of work to see the result. But while you're looking for that result, don't look at the views. I'm telling you, I was posting videos on TikTok and getting millions of views, and then posting that same video on YouTube getting 15. So I'm telling you the truth. It's about the work. It's about the passion. It's about the desire. One thing that you should probably do is follow Big Kim I Am. Another thing you should do is follow every single creator in whatever field it is you want to be in, whether it's fashion, comedy, journalism, gaming, technology, whatever field you want to be in. You need to follow them. Follow several people that are winning, not so you can copy, but just so you can see what works and so that you can engage in that community. But at the end of the day, consistency is the most important aggregate to any content creator. You got to be consistent. If you're not consistent, you're not going to win because you're not telling the algorithm that you're serious and you're not telling your fan base that you're serious. They don't know that they can come check. They know Cam going to give us a video, if not every day, at least 3-4 times a week. So at the end of the day, consistency is productivity. And keep going. Just keep going. Don't stop.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time, man. I appreciate all that the nuggets and the insight that you've given this evening, tonight on Late Night Talks with Pastor Chris. Hey, I thank you for even the kickback, because like I said, when we first talked, you did not have to do this, but I'm glad that you did. And so you one of the ones for me, brother. You one of them ones, man.
Yes, sir, man. That means everything. I love your backdrop, man. It's a dope background you got. Behind me, we got Big Cam I Am Productions, my streaming platform, which will be launching soon. Also, for anybody looking to learn how to do social media, I actually have a film degree. So that kind of gives me a little bit of a boost, a little bit of a help, because I know how to edit, I know how to write, I know how to storyboard, I know how to do a few things, work a camera, audio that people don't know off the street. So I actually will be launching a course as well, called For Creators Only Academy, in the coming months. So definitely keep your ear to the street. That's why I said you should follow Big Cam Williams, because it's not just about me getting numbers, but it is some things that I will be pushing out to help supplement those who need more than just an encouraging word, but actual skill development and tactical help to move forward. So we're trying to cover all the bases.
Awesome. Appreciate you, sir. Appreciate you. And each of y'all watching, love y'all with the love of God. Be blessed. Have a great rest of your weekend. And as always, remember, it's never too late to start over.
Absolutely.
Peace.